The past week brought two destructive earthquakes with magnitudes above 7 in different parts of the world, intensified volcanic activity, and new consequences of extreme weather for people and infrastructure. We will look at how natural events affected the lives of entire regions and what consequences they caused later in this episode. Italy. Since August 6th, the eruption of Mount Etna in Sicily has entered its most intense phase since the beginning of the year. Volcanic activity was occurring simultaneously at several locations. Large volumes of ash and lava were being released, while new eruptive vents were opening on the slopes of Etna. For an extended period, the wind carried volcanic ash toward the city of Catania and its airport. The eruption had a serious impact on air traffic, with disruptions becoming some of the largest in the past several decades. From August 6th to August 12th, about 36% of nearly 2,000 scheduled flights were canceled, while more than 600 others were diverted. For safety reasons, operations at Comiso Airport were also temporarily suspended. Etna's current activity resembles previous eruptions but is significantly more prolonged. Experts emphasize this particular factor and suggest that the large-scale nature of the eruption may be caused by an influx of magma from deeper layers containing elevated concentrations of dissolved gases. Deeper, gas-rich magma causes more intense fragmentation of the surrounding rock and leads to the formation of significant volumes of volcanic ash. Despite the restrictions in place, hundreds of tourists continued climbing Etna, especially after dark, in order to observe the eruption more clearly. Rescue services were forced to escort people away from the routes because volcanic ash and poor visibility made navigation difficult. A tragic incident occurred on August 16th. During a thunderstorm, lightning struck the slope of the volcano and hit a tourist. The man was airlifted by helicopter to a hospital in Catania, but despite resuscitation efforts, doctors were unable to save him. It should be remembered that during a thunderstorm, an exposed high-altitude slope becomes particularly dangerous because the risk of a lightning strike increases significantly. Italy's National Institute of Geophysics and Volcanology reports that the movement of magma within volcanic conduits activated the pre-existing Pernicana fault on Etna's northeastern slope. The displacement of rock on opposite sides of the fault released energy and triggered a magnitude 3.9 earthquake with a focal depth of only 1 kilometer. Movement of the rocks along the fault caused long surface cracks to appear, including cracks in the roadway. People were evacuated from nearby tourist facilities, including restaurants, as a safety precaution. Colombia. On the morning of August 10th, Western Colombia was shaken by a powerful magnitude 7.4 earthquake. The epicenter was located near the municipality of San Jose del Palmar in the Choco department. According to the head of the National Geological Service, this seismic event became the third most powerful earthquake ever recorded in Colombia. The tremors were felt across almost the entire country. More than 20,000 reports from over 1,200 settlements were submitted to the Geological Service. The most serious damage was reported in Cali, Pereira, Manizales, Quibdó, as well as in a number of smaller municipalities. Immediately after the earthquake, people began leaving their homes, offices, and shopping centers in large numbers. Patients were urgently evacuated from some hospitals. Within the first hours after the tragedy, rescuers and local residents were already clearing debris by hand in an attempt to find people trapped beneath the rubble. Some managed to survive in intact sections of collapsed buildings, while others were helped out of damaged homes by their neighbors. Search and rescue operations involved canine teams, firefighters, Red Cross personnel, civil defense workers, and heavy machinery. The scale of the destruction was enormous. According to Colombia's National Unit for Disaster Risk Management, about 14,500 homes were completely destroyed, while more than 81,500 others were damaged. In addition to smaller residential buildings, 66 large buildings collapsed. Behind these figures are tens of thousands of families who have lost their homes and will now have to seek temporary shelter. The earthquake damaged not only residential neighborhoods, historic buildings, municipal facilities, churches, restaurants, and other local businesses were also affected. Social and transport infrastructure suffered serious damage. More than 2,600 educational facilities, 241 medical institutions, and over 3,600 community facilities were damaged. 5 airports, almost 300 roads, and 44 road bridges were also affected. Recovery from the disaster will require enormous resources. In a speech on August 18th, the president of Colombia said that preliminary economic losses from the earthquake were estimated at approximately $9.6 billion. The tremors affected almost half of Colombia's departments, 15 out of 32. The consequences have been particularly severe in the most vulnerable regions, especially Choco, one of the poorest departments in the country. Many people whose homes were completely destroyed lost all their possessions except the clothes they were wearing when they ran outside. But for them, something else mattered most. They were alive. According to official figures as of August 15th, the earthquake claimed the lives of 294 people. Nearly 4,000 were injured, while another 320 were listed as missing. During search and rescue operations, 353 people were pulled alive from beneath the rubble. According to geologists, this seismic event caused the sudden eruption of a mud volcano that occurred the following day in the municipality of San Pedro de Urabá. Experts explained that the passage of seismic waves affected underground pressure, causing mud and gas to erupt at the surface. Nearby farmland was inundated by mud flows. Several animals were swept away by the flow and died. Residents of areas adjacent to the volcano were evacuated. It is important to note that this was already the second eruption of this kind recorded in the Urabá subregion this year. Japan. On the evening of August 13th, Chiba Prefecture on the eastern coast of Honshu Island was hit by record-breaking rainfall. The cause was so-called linear rainbands, powerful thunderstorm systems capable of remaining over the same area for an extended period. In central Chiba City, during the first hours of the severe weather, a weather station recorded rainfall at a rate of 115 millimeters per hour. Over half a day, 348 millimeters of rain fell, more than 3 times the usual amount of precipitation for August. In addition, historical records for rainfall accumulated over 3 and 6 hours were broken. About 120 millimeters of rain fell in Oamishira-Sato in just 1 hour, flooding city streets up to knee level. Power supply was disrupted for more than 19,000 households across the prefecture. Flooding damaged more than 1,000 buildings. On the morning of August 14th, when the severe weather reached its peak, more than 7,300 people were forced to take shelter in evacuation centers. The torrential rains triggered at least 9 landslides. A landslide in Chiba City buried residential buildings, damaged the roadway and a water main, leaving dozens of households without water. The severe weather brought nearly the entire transport system to a standstill. Road closures left around 7,000 passengers temporarily stranded at Narita International Airport. On flooded roads across the prefecture, drivers abandoned around 1,200 vehicles. In Midori Ward alone, the number of evacuation requests exceeded 200. But road services were unable to reach vehicles trapped in traffic congestion. Train services on the Kururi line were completely suspended by the East Japan Railway Company, while limited express trains, including the Narita Express, were cancelled for the rest of the day. Unfortunately, the severe weather also had tragic consequences. By August 16th, the deaths of 10 people had been confirmed, while 1 person remained missing. Indonesia. On the morning of August 15th, a powerful magnitude 7.7 earthquake struck off the coast of the Indonesian island of Flores. It occurred at a depth of only 15 kilometers, which made its impact particularly strong and led to significant destruction. The tremors were felt in several areas of Flores Island. The seismic event triggered a tsunami, with waves observed in 4 provinces. In East Manggarai Regency, the maximum recorded wave height reached 1.61 meters. After the main shock, aftershocks continued to shake the island. Nearly 2 days later, seismic activity remained high, and by the morning of August 17th, the number of aftershocks had exceeded 1,600. Residents felt 59 of the recorded aftershocks, with the strongest reaching a magnitude of 6.2. Fearing for their safety, people did not return to damaged homes. Many spent the night outside, staying in tents, under makeshift shelters, or in the open air. Some of the nearly 5,000 evacuees were accommodated in a sports complex and temporary camps. By August 17th, the death toll had reached at least 68 people, while more than 200 were injured. The earthquake damaged homes, schools, medical facilities, and other buildings. According to Indonesia's National Disaster Management Agency, more than 900 houses suffered severe damage. The seismic event triggered numerous landslides that blocked roads, including one of the island's main transport routes, the Trans-Flores Highway. Rescue services cleared debris to restore transport links with isolated communities. Disruptions to communication systems made rescue operations and their coordination more difficult. More than 3,500 military personnel and police officers were deployed to the disaster-affected areas to assist with emergency response and recovery operations. Another strong earthquake was recorded in Indonesia on the same day, this time in North Sumatra, almost 3,000 kilometers from Flores. According to different seismological agencies, the magnitude of this earthquake was estimated to range from 6.4 to 6.9. The considerable focal depth of approximately 163 kilometers significantly weakened the earthquake's impact at the surface. As a result, the consequences were less severe than would normally be expected for an earthquake of this magnitude, and no major destruction or fatalities were reported. China. On August 9th, the powerful Typhoon Dolphin, which formed in the central Pacific Ocean, struck the coast of China's Zhejiang province. It brought torrential rain and hurricane-force winds. Wind speeds near the center of the cyclone at the time of landfall reached 42 meters per second, while gusts exceeded 60 meters per second. More than 1 million people were evacuated from the most dangerous areas. The severe weather seriously disrupted transportation. Public transport services were temporarily suspended on August 10th. On the same day, a total of 943 flights were cancelled at Shanghai's 2 largest airports, while air traffic volume fell by almost 40%. On August 11th, the typhoon weakened into a tropical depression over Hubei province. However, even after that, it continued to affect the weather. Dolphin's residual circulation created a broad zone of torrential rain and strong winds that spread across eastern, central, and northern China. Daily rainfall totals at 14 weather stations set all-time records for the entire observation period. Particularly impressive figures were recorded in Zhejiang province. In Sanmen County, Taizhou, nearly 976 millimeters of rain fell over the entire period of the typhoon's impact. Extremely heavy rainfall also struck Beijing and the provinces of Tianjin, Hebei, and Henan. Streets were flooded, water entered homes and vehicles, while businesses and shops suffered serious losses. On August 12th, hundreds of tourist attractions and campsites were closed because of the threat of flooding. Safety measures also affected nursing homes, from which more than 5,000 elderly people were evacuated. The following day, a dam breach occurred on the Jialu River in Zhoukou, Henan province. The resulting gap reached about 30 meters in width. Floodwaters inundated the 5th People's Hospital of Zhoukou, and in some rooms the water level rose to 1.5 meters. On August 14th, a mudflow struck a residential building in Changxing County, Zhejiang province, and destroyed it. 1 person was killed, while 3 others were listed as missing. Typhoon Dolphin existed for more than 15 days, approximately 2.5 times longer than the average for the northwestern Pacific Ocean. Moreover, it formed far from China, near the international date line. After traveling more than 6,000 kilometers, the cyclone reached the Chinese coast while retaining strength comparable to a Category 1 hurricane. Nothing like this had ever occurred in the history of observations. Previously, no cyclone that formed so far to the east had managed to reach China while retaining such strength. When similar systems did make it to the country's coast, they had already weakened into tropical depressions. Today, dangerous natural phenomena are increasingly becoming destinations for tourism and spectacular entertainment. Tourists travel to watch volcanic eruptions, venture into the mountains despite a high avalanche risk, approach stormy seas, and head into areas affected by floods or powerful hurricanes in search of dramatic images. Striking videos of natural disasters, eruptions, storms, and other hazardous events are widely shared on social media. At the same time, the stories of people who are injured or killed during such trips in pursuit of unforgettable experiences often remain unseen, because journeys that end badly rarely make attractive content. This problem is especially evident in the case of active volcanoes. Trips to volcanic areas have long become a distinct branch of tourism. Excursions and special routes are organized, while visitors post dramatic images of lava and ash emissions. Over time, the familiar accessibility of such places can reduce the perception of potential danger. People may begin to think that if tourists are brought there every day, the situation must be under control. However, the presence of tourist infrastructure around a hazardous natural site does not make it any less dangerous. A prolonged absence of serious incidents and relatively stable volcanic behavior can gradually create the impression that the risk exists only in theory. Today, this issue is becoming particularly important as experts record changes in volcanic activity and directly warn of possible risks. When a danger does not materialize for a long time, people gradually stop perceiving it as real. Dramatic images, advertising, and easy access to natural sites further blur the boundary between a genuine threat and an attraction. But that boundary never disappears, and sometimes nature reminds us of it far too suddenly. So are these experiences really worth risking your own life for? After all, human life is the highest value,